Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, this is Apex Ratings. I am your host, Russell Broderick. That way. Doesn't
Oh
matter.
my god, I was thinking
both wrong
about.
again. Yeah, both wrong.
Like, you basically did it blindfolded. This way.
Well, the funny thing is, it's the same thing as yesterday. But,
Yeah.
and I didn't think about that. I was like, maybe it's gonna be the same thing as yesterday, but I'm like, that's throwing me for a loop. I'm not gonna get caught with that. And I did.
I still going the right way?
Oh yeah, we're supposed to keep it.
This way
guys are the right
is
way,
Dario Albuquerque. Off camera is the fairy pod mother Lindsay Lehman, who forgot to put the video in full screen.
Yes, I am that good.
And why are we wearing our coats today?
Because there was an ice storm in Philadelphia, in the middle of June, and we call him Ice Trae.
Ice Trae.
A legend is being born in front of our very eyes. There
will be a lot of Trae Young praise on this program. So if you do not like Trae Young, there's probably going to be a long hour for you.
Yeah. And if you subscribe 3 months ago because we also didn't like Trae Young, we apologize. We're not that type of show. If you do well, we switch up.
That ass.
Yeah, there's no take integrity here. Well,
difficult.
Besides with Lindsay and Embiid, yeah, that's
Hey.
other than it's pretty.
It's difficult to earn respect, not just by us, but by most of NBA Nation. Like the most of the NBA fan base has given this man his roses in the last, I don't know, we're recording on Monday, last 24-ish hours.
Yeah, and it's well deserved.
What's wild to me is how poorly he shot until the fourth quarter.
That's what I was about to say. So, Game 7 obviously happened last night between Philadelphia and the Hawks. And I looked at the fairy pod mother, and I said, Hawks are going to win this fucking game. And what'd you say back to me?
I said I just couldn't root for them.
But I thought about it, and I wanted to say it to somebody before the game tipped off. And I just felt like, and it's weird because now since then, I've listened to a few podcasts breaking down the game, and everybody's on the same wavelength that I was ready to hit today, which was this guy was the most obviously confident player on the floor, and was the most confident, quote unquote, in the moment, the least scared, and it was abundantly clear. Even over
Embiid,
horribly. Yeah. You would pick Embiid over Trae Young?
No, no, it's more of a question. Even over Embiid, you feel that way?
I think Embiid's the better player, and I think Embiid was ready, but I don't think he was as confident as Trae Young was in the moment.
Oh, I feel like Embiid wasn't as confident in his team more than in himself.
And there are lots of things and reasons that he's going to feel justified in that, which we're going to get into.
Yeah.
But I wanted to start, before we really break down the game, the first place I wanted to start was here. So, the 2018 draft, obviously, was not very long ago.
Yep.
We are actually recording on the 3-year anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
And we have DeAndre Ayton going first, right?
Yep.
Marvin Bagley. Luka Doncic, originally picked by the Hawks, but was traded on draft night for Trae Young. And before this playoffs, how did you feel about that trade?
Me?
Yeah.
Honestly?
Yeah.
I didn't care about this draft.
Damn.
I'm sorry.
It's totally like the worst thing. Where am I going with that?
I didn't know the question was gonna be at you.
I'll ask Lindsay. What did you think of the draft? Since you were living with me, so I know that at least you were aware of it.
Well, I thought that maybe Luka was a little bit better than Trae Young, and that DeAndre Ayton was not as good as both of them at that point. But barely. I don't know. Like, it's hard to say that because they're young, so I don't know.
For me, I looked at that and there were a lot of signs that were already pointing towards Luka having a nice trajectory. He was the MVP of the EuroLeague, right? At 17 years old, and I think he also won the championship. I'm pretty sure. I'm not positive, but I'm pretty sure. But he had deep playoff runs, and he was playing there for that wasn't his first season, so he was playing there as a kid professionally.
Yeah.
And Trae Young, coming out of college, was seen as a Stephen Curry, like a poor man's Stephen Curry.
Yeah.
That was his thing. It was like maybe, and the guy who, the GM of the Atlanta Hawks, was the same guy who was the GM for the Warriors, or worked within the Warriors system when they drafted Curry. So that, and going into the Atlanta thing, he was trying to recreate that. That was his original goal.
Yeah.
That's why he felt confident getting Trae Young. If you asked me before this playoffs, I would have said that Dallas robbed them blind of a potential Hall of Famer in Luka Doncic, right? Before this playoffs. Now, I think that it's you got a real different case about it. Because I'm not saying that Atlanta won the trade, but I definitely think both parties worked out way different than I did beforehand.
I would not say. I've seen a lot of people throw a lot of shade on Luka these past couple of days because of Trae Young's success, which I never understand. People, I mean, I was one of those people when I first started really watching basketball with Kobe and LeBron, but I don't understand why you gotta, disrespect one dude to like big up another guy, kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
But
I mean, I did that when I was younger. But
yeah, like I think they could be great in their own, rights, kind of thing. Like I personally disrespected Trae Young through his career and all of this.
As a matter of fact, post edit me. Play the clips of us disrespecting Trae Young. There'll be Mr. Trae Young. 30 points a game last year. Legit or not legit? They lost a fuck ton of games last year. Like they weren't necessarily trying to win, but they also lost a lot. Are there bad habits developed there?
Yeah, I think that overall the Atlanta team is good enough to win two games. I honestly don't see Trae Young having a crazy game in the series, and I don't want to seem like a hater, like because I don't really care much for him. I don't care. I'm not like a hater or a fan, but like he shot 44% from the field for the entire season, right? In a series, when a team is playing to stop you, and especially you, because you're like the main engine that runs that team too.
Yeah,
I just can't imagine that he's gonna do any better than that. Like I don't see him. I see him decreasing in efficiency in a 7-game series, especially against this Knicks team.
Yeah, there'll be a couple.
Exactly, and then also like we even it was so bad that we got comments about how much we were disrespecting Ice Trae. So we definitely did disrespect him, and he's gained my respect, and I've become a fan, honestly. So, but I think it, like you said, I think it just kind of works out. Like, Atlanta's not wrong for getting them. Like, they might go to the finals.
Well, this is why I kept DeAndre in this conversation. He wasn't involved in the trade, obviously, but he was perceived as like a bust in comparison to the two guys, the two guards.
Yeah. Well, he
was on his way. He was on his way.
To me, he still doesn't deserve to be the first guy picked.
No, but we'll do a redraft on a different day. Here's my point. Okay. 3 out of the top 5 people in a draft that happened exactly 3 years ago are main contributors main contributors or primary options on three
Playoff
not
team.
three on
3 playoff teams.
yeah, 3 playoff teams, right?
Yep.
2 conference finalists, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
I think that's nuts.
sorry to add to your
Yeah,
point.
you're good.
Like Luka lost to the other conference final. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not like he lost to a team that was ass. You know what I
Right.
mean? He maybe he could have made his way on the other side of the bracket, or maybe he could have got to the second round on the other side of the bracket. It all depends. But
Jaren Jackson looked really good this season, especially toward down the stretch.
yeah.
Playing with Memphis on their little run that they had.
Yeah.
And I just think Michael Porter Jr. was in this draft.
You think this is going to be one of those, like maybe when in a couple of years we might look at this as one of those historic drafts?
Yes, that was where I was going with this. I think this might be looked at as the best draft since, I don't know.
03?
No, no, the Curry draft is in there. Because there was a couple of studs with Curry.
Was it Curry? Was Clay? No, Clay. No, it was. Sorry, what am I talking about? Curry. Who's the other dude?
I got you. Hold on.
James Harden. Okay.
Blake Griffin, James Harden, Tyreek Evans, Ricky Rubio, Steph Curry, DeMar DeRozan, Brandon Jennings,
Drew
Holiday.
Yeah.
Ty Lawson had a good career. Darren Collison. Like Taj Gibson. Probably I think this is going to get looked at as the best draft since this. I don't know if it's better or worse, but I think it'll go down as the best draft since this. If you guys have drafts in between then that you want to shout out, put it in the comments.
Yeah.
Because I can't think of drafts off the top of my head. But I would say that for sure. Because these guys are already making huge marks in their career. Like for all 3 of those guys, these last 2 years are going to be looked at as the moment where they all had their on the map moments.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to point that out because I thought it was crazy.
Yeah. And I think just to add salt to our wounds, Lindsay, right? I think Trae Young proved us wrong, and he was the breakout player of the year, right? We probably have to say that now.
Wait.
Me and Lindsay have been arguing.
This is why there are playoff awards.
Yeah, no.
We will have to do this at the end of the postseason.
Well,
we have our own.
Yeah, we can have playoff
If
awards.
the NBA is not going to fucking do it.
Okay.
If the NBA is not going to do it, we'll fucking do it.
All right.
That'll actually be a lot of fun.
We definitely got to do that. We definitely got to do that.
But what do you like more about Trae? Do you like his game or his attitude more?
I definitely like his attitude more.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. I think he's smart though. Like that's the thing with his. Like I'm not a huge fan of his game really, but I think he plays extremely smart. Like even like the little things, like the after a made shot, letting the ball, roll for however long, but like pretty much getting a 30-second possession every single, like against the Knicks. That's what he was doing. I think it was the Knicks and Philly.
There's arguments to be made against that and for that.
What do you mean?
Whatever you want to do. I don't think that's the smartest thing to do when you're up, when you're leading already. You want the time to burn. You don't want the time to stay on the clock.
No, but the whole thing. That's why I'm saying it's smart, because what happens is after a made basket before the 2-minute mark, if they make a basket, the clock keeps going.
No, I understand. But if you're already winning, why would you want that? Sometimes that's what I mean.
The point. You want to run out time.
He's making his possession 30 seconds instead of 24.
But the clock continues to run in that situation?
Yes. Look it up.
That doesn't make a whole lot of sense, because usually when
that's why Embiid was pissed. You remember when Embiid was yelling at his it's because the clock was running, and he literally still hadn't touched the ball yet, and it was they were going to half court already. And he was pissed about that because it is really smart though. Like I mean, you literally having.
Well, I was just under the impression that the clock
it's after a certain amount
stops running.
Yeah.
Is it under 2 minutes?
I think so. I think
Okay.
that's like.
I'll look that up. If that's true, it'll be on your screen.
Yeah.
But I just like the way he's carried himself on the road, Game 7, and I got to a point where before this game, like I said, I went from in the beginning of the playoffs where I was like, "Fuck this guy, he's gonna get smacked by the Knicks," to
Yeah.
I think he's the most confident guy on the court before this game. I think he's the only person in Philadelphia that is positive that Atlanta is coming out with a W. And the craziest part was he didn't even play that well from a shooting perspective, like Lindsay said. And it didn't matter because in the fourth quarter, he still came up with big buckets that he wasn't making the rest of the game, right?
Yep.
He was still making huge plays where the crowd was trying to get into it in Philadelphia, and Trae Young was just coming down the floor, quick buckets, getting it to somebody under the basket, quick. He uses the crowd's energy to his advantage, which is cool. That's the coolest part about his game, is he genuinely uses the energy in the opponent's arena, positive or negative, to dictate. He's so comfortable in it.
Yeah.
And it's got to be because he was so polarizing in college, and he's been polarizing in the NBA.
Yeah.
So
he's been hated on since forever. Like, when I think about it, Steph Curry was the most beloved player probably of the last decade.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And you got a guy that everybody thinks is just mimicking him and not as good.
Right.
So shit on him. You know what I mean? Like, that was his whole career pretty much. Like, as he's been, growing as a player.
Yeah.
But that also, like, the shit talking and shit, like, it definitely adds to his, like, leadership, because the guys around them definitely feed
They
off.
love it. They love it.
For sure.
But here's the last thing I wanted to say on that.
Like,
because you were talking about Trae Young. Hold on real quick. Because you were talking about Trae Young with Steph Curry, and I want to drop that point, but I want to hit this, because I don't think Steph Curry is a fair comparison for him. I think the appropriate comparison is Reggie Miller.
Yep.
That's the appropriate comparison. When it comes to attitude and style of play and the ability to just, like, because sometimes that happened to Reggie, where he would have a bad game, he would have a long period without shooting, but in the fourth quarter, money.
But his play style is definitely more Steph than Reggie, though.
Oh, in terms of, like, his ability to shoot off the dribble, sure. But I'm saying, like, his attitude is Reggie Miller.
Yeah, no, for sure, I agree.
His game, when he does go outside and, like, take those faraway threes, is Reggie-esque, because he does it in particular moments where, like I said, he's trying to control the crowd. Reggie was the best at that. I don't know how talented Reggie Miller was ultimately, but I know that his ability to control a crowd and his ability to be confident and in the moment in those huge situations, that's why I compare Reggie to Trae Young.
Yeah. That's why Reggie compares Reggie to Trae Young. But going back to that leadership and the swagger, like, I don't know if you remember, like, I can't remember which game it was. I think it was against Philly when Trae Young's walking at halftime.
Yeah.
And specifically a guy from Philly bumps into him, like, to try to, bully him kind of thing. And he just, like, he just, like, keeps walking and shakes it off. And then his teammates walk up on the dude and, like get all in their face and stuff. Like, that's the type of, like, he you could tell he's loved by his teammates and shit. And like, they're like ready to fight for him. And that's the type of shit that makes a team go this far. We've already established, like, all these playoff teams are good, but usually what makes a team, like, get as far as these guys have is the chemistry, the wanting to play for each other, wanting to play with each other. Like that, if you look at all championship teams, most of them have. You never really see a championship team that hates each other unless you have, like, super transcendent talent. Like,
also, you see things like a team coming back from a big deficit.
Yeah,
like Hawks did twice.
Yeah,
and then things like maybe not Trae Young getting him going.
They've done that in both series, right? Against the Knicks and Philly, right?
Yeah, where they've had little comebacks like that. Yeah. And
like 20-point comebacks.
but it's not just Trae Young that's confident. He's the
Yeah.
most confident, but then you have guys like John Collins who, when they're down big, comes through with huge dunks, energizes the whole team, and gets them going on a run. You have guys like Kevin Huerter, who in Game 7, when Bogdanovich is injured, comes in and plays the Bogdanovich role.
Yeah.
Like
I mean,
seamlessly.
yeah, I mean, John Collins had to be confident as hell going into Philly with that shirt of him dunking on Embiid. Did you see that? That was freaking awesome.
That'll be on your screen.
Yeah.
Sure. But even though Trae Young shot under 40%,
Yeah.
still 29 and 11, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, 1, 2, 3, 6 players in double figures. And even Lou Williams gave you some moments as a big fuck you to Doc Rivers. But I just think that this team, everything that I was iffy about coming into the season is now showing itself in the playoffs, but against what I said. I was worried about their depth. I was worried about Trae Young. And I was worried that they thought they had more talent than they actually did. And I was fucking completely wrong.
Yeah.
And,
well, you gotta remember they also switched. They traded Lou Will for Rondo, right?
Yeah, and they got Nate McMillan.
Yeah. Oh yeah, in the middle of the year. Yeah, and they sorry in the press conference, all of the players credited McMillan for his approach as a coach in terms of their mental toughness and stuff like that. So like
I believe
became this tough team. You could argue because of him.
Yeah, 27 and 11 in the regular season with him. That's solid.
Yeah, that's really good.
But Trae Young's energy got them through the game. And as we shift to talk about Philly for a second, energy completely lost them this series. They had more talent. They had Joel Embiid averaged 30, 13, 4, a steal, and 2 blocks a game, right? They got 21 points a game out of Seth Curry, shooting 60 and 60% from field goal and 3-point, respectively. But I don't know. I'm shocked that they actually lost this series. I really am.
I mean, so I texted the group chat saying that I couldn't believe that they lost the game because I thought I was like confident. I was ready to put bets in.
Yes.
And having Philly in 2 bets because I was more so worried about I can't remember what team, but I was like gonna flip flop another team, and that was a solid pick for me because I felt like Philly was gonna win it. I would have lost money. Thank God I didn't do that.
And, but Lindsay.
Yes.
You were on the Philadelphia train for this season as your Eastern Conference team.
I was really not happy with the fact that it was a Doc Rivers led team, but I really liked it because of Joel Embiid.
We were both on that train, Lindsay. I had Philly going to the finals.
I mean, he had like 30 and 13 with 2 blocks, and I don't know.
So here's my question for Lindsay as a Clippers fan and someone who's watched Doc Rivers teams like I have for a while. How do you think he should stay?
No.
What a world.
I was surprised when he got the job right after the Clippers thing.
I wasn't. He's a respected coach, and he always gets people to the top of the regular season.
Yeah, but that's it. That's all he does, really, except for that one time with the Celtics.
And I think that's more because of KG than anything else, honestly.
Oh, the thing with, like, it's hard because we went through, if you guys want, check in our archives. It was the Western Conference Finals, Western Conference Semifinals overview.
Yep.
We break this down. We go through Doc's entire history of being a coach. And so we're just adding to this right now.
Basically.
So Doc has a history of blowing leads as a coach. A lot of last year, I actually defended him, and I was ready to defend him again this year
Yeah.
Because I understand blowing a lead, but he got them to the point where it was a fight in game 7, and and in my opinion, they really lost that game 7 because of Ben Simmons more than Doc Rivers personally.
Okay.
But I they shouldn't have been in the position because they blew 2 big leads. So that's the thing. Like,
And
definitely, if I had to like give percentages out, like Doc's getting at least 30%, Ben Simmons is getting, to me, at least 35, 40. Like, because it was just disgusting watching Ben Simmons. I was surprised that I've never seen a player look so defeated. Like, he had an open dunk and passed it off for someone else to shoot a layup. Like,
2 people.
huh?
He passed it off to, I think it was either
It
Maxey
was
or
Tobias, I think. Maybe.
no, I think it was Maxey or Thibault for sure.
Yeah, you might be right. Yeah.
I would have been like, at least it's Tobias.
Yeah.
But and this is going to be like, if someone asks you, show me one thing from the one play from Philadelphia in 7 games that describes why they lost the series, you show them that play. Because also in that play, if you see it from a few different angles, you could see Joel Embiid in the background go, "What the fuck are you doing, bro?"
Yeah.
That'll be on your screen.
Yeah.
And like, when you do stuff like that, because this is a guy who, as recently as this season, regular season, put up 40 points in a game on all dunks and layups, and he coast to coast, things he could have totally done to this team because he did it against Utah with Rudy fucking Gobert there.
Yeah.
And at some point between that game and right now, something happened.
Yeah.
I can't put my finger on it.
I feel like he definitely lost some type of confidence. And when you're a player that, like, if you already start feeling, once you put doubt in your mind, it's over. Especially if you in the playoffs, it's over. You're not gonna, like, it's gonna be extremely hard to bounce back from that. And this is I was ready to like really shit on Ben Simmons and say that he was the main reason that they lost, which I still do think he is the main reason that they lost. But Doc got a huge percentage of that blame because Doc Rivers, in a post game interview, they asked, "Do you think Ben Simmons can be the starting point guard for a championship team?"
Yeah.
And he says, "I don't know."
Right.
That shows me, okay, definitely it was coaching. Like, you can't do that even at this point. Everybody knows
you feel like he's taking away his confidence.
But it's already that means there was not, you lie. That just shows, one, you were lying about your confidence in him throughout the series. Because remember, they asked him earlier in the series, "Are you going to take out Ben Simmons towards the end of a game?"
Yeah.
You remember that? And he said, and he goes and says that was a stupid question or whatever. And then he goes and does it anyways in one of the games. So that, I'm sure, makes Ben Simmons lose his confidence. But then after the fact, that's just showing you didn't have confidence in him throughout that series. You were just talking, and he knew that.
Or you just lost it. Or you completely lost it.
Yeah, exactly. And to get to that point where it's already over, it's done. He's a player on your team, and you chose to take. That's like the pettiest route you could go. Like, you didn't shit on him after the fact too. And to me, that's huge on coaching.
Yeah. Last thing on Ben Simmons. So this was the beginning of the season. He was averaging 15 points a game, 8 rebounds, 8 assists, and he looked like the best defensive player in the league, for sure, which is what the numbers aren't telling you, but we were talking about it during the season.
Yeah.
Since then, right? Well, for the regular season, right? Down a few points, 14 points, 6.4 rebounds, 6 assists, 1.5 steals.
Shooting 50%.
I'm surprised his assists and rebounds went down way more. And he's what? Say it again.
57% from the free throw line.
Yeah, and he was shooting 66 before that.
Yeah. So something.
I'm not saying, I don't know. And then in the playoffs, obviously, I'll get those numbers in a second, but the playoffs, obviously, he just was a shell of himself. And he didn't come into the league like that. he didn't come into the league afraid to even dunk. He
Yeah, all the confidence in the world. Yeah.
He came into the league very afraid to shoot. That's undeniable, right? In the playoffs, right? 12 points, 8 rebounds, 9 assists, a
Yeah.
steal, right? 34% from the line.
That's historically the worst free throw percentage in
It's
playoff.
him. It's got to be Ben Wallace is in there.
No, that they already.
No, I know. I'm just trying to. I know there's. I'm trying to think of the other people on that list.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Ben Wallace probably in there. It's probably a Shaq season.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Shaq's never shot on the 40. I don't think.
I don't know. Maybe for a series he has, but
maybe
I'd have to look. But obviously horrific, and it got to a point where even in crunch time in the fourth quarter, with like just a few minutes to go, they're still hacking Ben Simmons the moment he touches the ball.
Yeah, because why not? I mean,
and I was like, and they were obviously Philly was winning at that point, and
that was why they came back in the 25-point deficit.
It was unbelievable, but it wasn't even during that. It was last night at Game 7.
Oh no, yeah. But I mean, at that point, like, honestly, if I was up in the game, I'd still do it. Because if the guy that's mainly controlling the basketball can't shoot a lick,
right?
Especially if he's gonna make one,
has no confidence.
Yeah, if he's gonna make 1 out of every 3 free throws, that means if we foul him, he's making one every other time or something. Like, I'm gonna do that. You're gonna win the game. Just that's simple.
I don't understand it. He goes 17 in the first game, Game 1. They lose by 4. 17 and 10, 4 steals, 7 for 7 from the field. Obviously, free throws were shit, but he's not terrified to dunk at this point.
Yeah.
In these last 3 games, he was clearly afraid to have the ball and get fouled.
Well, when did Doc Rivers pull him out? That was another thing. This is the same situation with Rudy Gobert. Remember when we talked about taking him out, and because that's just logical for winning?
Right.
This could possibly be what happens when you take out a player of that caliber, and you just shits the bed at that point, because he's just like, all right, I lost all my confidence. My coach doesn't believe in me. He took me out in the most important minutes of the game,
which is exactly what you were saying.
Yeah,
exactly what you were saying.
So this is just an explanation of that, I guess. But
last thing on Philly, and then we're gonna move on. Where do they go from here?
Oh, trade Ben Simmons in a heartbeat.
Can you what's his value at this point?
I don't know. Let him play the first quarter of the season. Let him. If I was them, I'd literally make that first quarter of the season about him. Just let him go crazy. Average 25, 10 and something, and trade his ass.
Can he get average 25 points? I do not think so.
In the regular season, yes, he could.
On his best day, on his best season, he will not be averaging 25 points.
You think
this scaredy cat that I just watched for three games?
Yeah, but the regular season, we know the regular season is completely different.
I know what you're saying. I get what you're saying, that the pressure's less, but this is gonna haunt him for a long time. There's no way it's not.
Bro, I've seen James Harden look disgusting and then come back and
but that's so different. That's so different. James Harden just plays bad. Ben Simmons was scared to be on the floor. That's a big difference. James Harden was never scared to be on the floor. He just sucked.
No, that's true. Yeah, because he was chucking at least. Yeah, like,
that's what I'm saying. He had the Paul Pierce style of not liking shit, where he'll just shoot his way through a slump.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever, like, in my life seen an NBA player do what Ben Simmons did.
Oh, I have.
Like who?
For sure.
Like, to be scared for, like, that's multiple games.
There have been guys who have played scared in big moments before. Giannis.
Well, of course, like in big moments, sure, but I'm talking about that's 3 consecutive games where you were scared to have the ball in certain moments. Like, I don't know, man. Like that.
There have been crazy performances. Obviously, LeBron in the finals. That happened.
For what?
In the 2011 finals, he was averaging.
That still wasn't as bad.
Really bad. No, it's not to this level, but it's still in the realm of. It's a similar thing.
Yeah.
Where it's something going on in your head.
Yeah. That's true. LeBron would probably be the closest. I mean, especially when you're comparing just
me off the top of my head. I'm sure there are ones we're not thinking about.
Yeah.
Where people have like just collapsed, you know.
If you guys remember any, let us know.
Throw them in the comments.
Yeah.
That'd be a fun premise for a show.
Yeah, for sure. And we can talk about them if you want.
Let's look at the Hawks' opponents, and this insane Game 7.
Oh yeah,
between
it was beautiful to watch. Like I didn't even think about that. We had Game 7s on the East, on the whole East. Yep. Like I wasn't thinking about the bracket wise or whatever. That was pretty dope. Like I was happy to have these Game 7s back to, and they were good games, both Game 7s.
Just when you thought this series was going to be boring as fuck, it went and got good all over again.
Yeah,
this was getting ready to be a gentleman's sweep, for sure.
Yeah, because I was technically right about Milwaukee winning, but I was wrong about how they won.
Yeah.
The reason why they won was not because of what I thought. So, I don't even want to take this W. I'm completely fine with just having a great series though, because the injuries within the series actually made it more competitive.
Totally agree. Lynn, what do you think?
I'm sad that Blake Griffin's eliminated. And I thought it was just a weird series because I felt like at times the team that won just didn't play that well. I don't know.
Something weird happened to Blake Griffin halfway through this series. He went from a guy who was playing really good defense on Giannis and dunking and playing well to being the hugger. Whenever I saw him on the court, he was just trying to hug Giannis. Off ball. Always.
Yeah, I have the answer to that one.
Okay.
Because Giannis, especially in the last two games, played how he was supposed to play.
Yeah.
Freaking, for whatever reason, and I think the guys on TNT said this, he's just hard-headed. For whatever, and the stat that I love the most out of this whole stat line, okay, maybe I'm thinking of the wrong game. Was it
game 6 where he took no three?
Okay, yeah, sorry. Yeah, game 6 where he took no threes and he just completely went crazy. That's the type of Giannis I want to fucking see. Don't shoot a fucking three. You don't need to.
Oh, we're not shooting threes anymore. We're not. I don't even want him to. Do you still want him to have the 15 to 18 foot jump shot?
I'm cool with that because you need. I never wanted him to shoot a three because I just thought that was disgusting. I always thought mid range. Get some type of a mid range shot.
That's gonna be for a while.
Huh?
You've been on this for a while.
Yeah, exactly. Because mid range is gonna still make the defense respect you a little, and then you could just attack as much as you want. And honestly, they knew exactly what he was gonna do in both of these games. He literally would pull back and just freaking attack the basket on Blake Griffin or whoever, and they couldn't stop him.
What are they going to do?
Had to double. If not, it was going to be a layup, dunk, a foul, something. And it's just, I keep attacking that way.
He and Ben Simmons should look at basketball in a very similar way. Yeah. They are, and this has been picked up now by, I've heard Bill Simmons say it, but I've been on this for a while. I just didn't have this wording. They should be looked at as non-traditional centers. 100%. Especially a guy like Ben Simmons, who's thick enough to get that done, and a guy like Giannis, who's long enough and athletic enough to be anywhere he wants on the court.
Yeah.
Like, if only Rudy Gobert could move the way Giannis moves.
Oh, yeah. I definitely like that analogy there, because you've compared Giannis to like
Shaq.
Young Shaq.
Yeah, young Shaquille O'Neal for sure. Magic Shaq.
Yeah, and I mean he definitely handles the ball better than Shaq ever did.
For sure.
But the way that they like run with the ball and everything and attack, like I could totally see that.
But even
I like that. I definitely like the non-traditional center that they should look at. And I mean, the perfect piece, like getting Drew Holiday, really helped because in this game 7, he hit big shots in the
At
last
the
2
end,
minutes.
finally, after shooting horribly for most of
Yep.
the series.
But that's the whole thing. That's all you need from one of these players is
Right.
you needed a guy that could get his own. Remember last year, what was our biggest thing? You need a guy that could get it for himself.
Right.
And that's what he did, and he kept them in the game that way. We're pretty much having a shootout with KD, and then they went to overtime and they were able to get the W because KD was
Everybody
tired.
was fucking exhausted.
Yeah. So
Everyone was so tired.
question: do you blame Kevin Durant at all? Because you've had harsh words for Kevin Durant over the course of this year in terms of how pussy he's been and everything like that. Do you blame Kevin Durant for this loss? And do you think? How do you feel about his 0 for 6 shooting in overtime?
Yeah, I heard a lot about that, right?
Yeah.
Like I said, I think everyone was tired as fuck. However, I have been super hard on Kevin Durant this year. And more than his play, I've been concerned about two things. Can he stay healthy and play big minutes like this, right? That was the number one thing I was concerned about. And then on a bigger scale, why's he got to make the league always fucking top heavy? And no one thought that way until this playoffs when they all fucking destroyed and they just were like, oh, the Nets are clearly the best fucking team. And if out of all the healthy teams, especially in the East, the Nets were the best team, in my opinion. And I think it showed. When they were all healthy, they were nasty.
Yeah, because I remember after, I don't know if it was game 2 or what.
Yeah.
I was thinking, yeah, I think it was after game 2. I was like, if Giannis doesn't win, if they don't win this game 3, it's not even clear. It's done. Like, it is done up. But.
And even after game 3, when it was 86-86.
Yeah.
Right? Or what the hell was this final score? 86-83, right?
Yeah. That was when Kyrie got injured, right?
Huh?
Kyrie got injured that game.
No, Kyrie got injured the next game.
Okay.
But before the Kyrie injury, I was like, gentleman sweep. I thought after this game 3, I was like, they're done in 5. Because that team, even with just Kyrie and Kevin Durant in playoff mode, was killing Milwaukee. And Giannis was sucking to the point where I was depressed about it.
Yeah. Honestly, I think if let's say if Kyrie was the one that had came back in this series and not James Harden, I think they would.
If James Harden came back with 2 hamstrings instead of 1, I don't think he plays this poorly.
Yeah. No, but
he probably plays bad because he's James Harden in the playoffs. But he's probably not going to play like James Harden in playoffs, but with 1 leg.
Yeah. No, I'm thinking Kyrie with the hobbled ankle. If he would have been the one coming back instead of James Harden, I think Nets would have won the series.
Maybe.
Because I just trust.
That's a big if.
So my biggest thing is like James Harden in these like it worked out perfectly for Milwaukee because you had James Harden being the one to have to come back to like be the one to control, and he's the one like in those positions he's just never been the guy. Like he's always every time you ask that of him, he always doesn't deliver. Like Kyrie, I think 100% would have delivered, especially being the second guy and having to score. Like all KD needed was another guy to help him score.
Right, and he wasn't able to get it from any of these role players. Much to the opposite that we were talking about with Atlanta, where Atlanta, even though Bogdanovich got hurt, Kevin Huerter was able to step up. He didn't get as much of that as you would have thought. Blake Griffin stepped up in the early games, but once Blake Griffin wasn't like the 8th man on the team, then all of a sudden it was a little bit more difficult. Yeah. Which I think that's the thing that pissed me off the most about Kevin Durant and the Nets is that idea of like blatant front running would bother me immensely, and just that their attitude about it, right? Yeah. And how Kevin Durant saw his championships as fair and not fair. You know what I mean? Like they're as either equal to my championships, Michael Jordan's championships, Kobe's championships. They're all the same. LeBron's, they're all the same, and that's how he looks at it. And it's just not the case. Sorry, brother, it's just not the case. But this is the best Kevin Durant I've ever fucking seen.
Okay.
I wore Kevin Durant's jersey the next day.
You're not blaming Kevin Durant.
I give Kevin Durant 0% of the blame.
Yeah, I agree.
You're right.
And him going 0 for 6, I'm not mad at all.
Me neither.
This guy literally played almost every single minute of the last 3 games.
Yeah.
And
Not to mention, he was two inches away from ending their season.
Yeah. And my next question, because this was a big topic throughout the whole year, do you feel like he's 100%?
Yeah. Now I do. I needed to see this. I did need to see something like this, though, to believe it. And I just never thought I was going to get to because of the way they constructed the team.
Yeah.
I just thought he never was going to have to go this hard. And boy, did he go fucking hard.
Oh, man.
Fucking game 6, right? Game 6?
Yes. Yep. This is game 7.
No, game 5 is Durant, though. Game 5 is...
Oh, yeah, game 5, 49, 15, and 10.
Yeah.
Never done in NBA history.
Yeah, which is
semantics, but it's fine.
I thought the same thing. But unbelievable. Unbelievable. Had every shot, had all the fucking everything.
Yeah.
And so physical. Was played or physically, excuse me.
Yeah. And I texted you about this, but I was rooting for Milwaukee at this point because obviously I had already picked them. So I'm just like, I just want my pick to be right. But as this game is going on, I'm just rooting for Kevin Durant. Like it's just you have to. Like you have to be rooting for him at this point. Me and Alyssa were watching this game, and we were both just going insane because it was
really
just
easy to root for Kevin Durant and be a fan of him when he's not on the best team. It's fucking simple, and that's what pisses me off. That's what pissed me off about the whole thing with him, is that this series proved why I was upset because he doesn't fucking need the super team to win a championship. If you put him next to one other guy, Kyrie Irving, you're good. They would have won the chip. Those two guys are healthy with that original roster before Harden. They would have won the chip with fucking Karis LeVert and
with everything being the same. Sure.
Yeah.
I don't know if everything being the same. I mean, if
I think even if they got to Game 7 and Kyrie gets hurt, I think Karis LeVert does more in this situation than anybody that the Nets had. He was he was an animal, and even last year in the bubble, which apparently showed us who the real ballers in the league were. Which outside of like Tyler Hero, Karis LeVert played real well in the bubble, and of course MJ Warren. Forgot about him too. But
the whole thing with this is I feel like this was the perfect opportunity for Kevin Durant to have, just taken advantage of the situation. You had 8 superstars out in the playoffs. So this could have relatively been, you could argue, an easy championship for him to get if they would have passed this round, because you would have had Atlanta and they would have probably been heavy favorites versus Atlanta.
Sure.
And then going to the NBA Finals, you might be facing either hobbled Clippers or a Phoenix Suns that you arguably probably have more firepower than them. You know what I mean? This was are they going to have these opportunities going forward? I mean, if you have a healthy Harden, Durant, and Kyrie, you're most likely going to have a chance at a chip anyways. But this was just one that if he would have won it, especially with Kyrie injured, Harden injured, this would have been a great legacy moment for him. Because if he would have won this championship, his other 2 would have been validated more. Because LeBron
championship, if he's playing by himself and his second best player is Jeff Green, that's 2 championships.
Yeah, and one thing that I don't wanna gloss over, because I know I'm surprised that we didn't talk about this. We did. So we talked about coaching in the other series, and I do want to mention Steve Nash's coaching here, because I truly do think Steve Nash was part of the reason that they lost this game.
Okay.
So you go, whatever, we get KD's crazy shot in the fourth quarter to make.
We're watching Game 6 right now.
Yeah. Did you see that? Before I keep on with the Steve Nash thing, did you see Kevin Durant was inches away from winning the game, right?
Yeah.
You know, Kevin Durant is a size, I think, I don't know, 14,
Yeah.
but he wears a size 15 to be more comfortable.
Yep.
So he literally, because of his shoe size, it literally arguably fucked up his chances of winning that game. If he would have just worn the normal shoe, he would have won that game.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I believe it. I believe it.
I just thought that was really funny, like hearing about it, and then him talking about it afterwards.
And he likes to be comfortable.
Big ass foot, huh?
One thing we know about Kevin Durant is that that guy enjoys being comfortable.
Yeah. But back to Steve Nash.
Yeah.
So, the Milwaukee has some stupid plays towards the end of the game. You get Kevin Durant with the ball at the end of the game. They wanted him to run it up the court, which I could understand wanting to do that, because usually if you run it up the court, the defense isn't set. You have more of a better chance of getting
a la the LeBronto buzzer beater.
Yeah, exactly. So, but Kevin Durant, obviously, with freaking 50 minutes on his body at this point, he's tired as hell. He runs it up the court.
Not just that, 3 full games of playing that.
Yeah, could you actually rewind this a little bit, because you could see it. Kevin Durant, right after that.
Where am I going? Rewinding or
no? Just go like probably like 5 seconds back. Yeah, that's good. So after this play, whatever, they get the ball. Kevin Durant gets the ball, runs it up the court, and passes. He passed it. He was the one to give it to James Harden right there. And James Harden was pretty much like, bruh, I do not want anything to do with this shot.
Yeah.
Gave it right back to him.
Wanted it healthy, let alone with one leg.
Exactly, right? So, but my whole thing is, at that point, they have a timeout. Look at the thing. They have a timeout.
Yeah.
Why not call a timeout? Kevin Durant is clearly tired as hell. He passed the ball to James Harden because he's tired.
Yeah.
Call a fucking timeout and let your best player. My bad. Call a fucking timeout and let your best player rest for the 30 seconds to a minute, and let Kevin Durant get an actual good shot instead of a tired, fatigue shot and a freaking turnaround jump shot to try to win your game.
Yeah.
I just think it's stupid as hell.
I think even though he accepted the moment, I think this was probably Kevin Durant's biggest fear in terms of situation. Like, I'm sure after that Achilles injury, and probably even during when he was looking into the Warriors, I'm sure the ease of basketball, right, and the ease of the system, and like being able to not be doubled and not be too tired, was probably a lot of his consideration when choosing teams. And so so like I said, even though he embraced the moment, I think this was probably his basketball nightmare, because he was physically, and everybody really was on the court, physically and mentally exhausted.
Yeah.
And that's why when he ends up taking the same exact shot over Drew Holiday. Now, look, if he didn't make the shot to get to overtime just like that, I think you look at that shot immediately and you go, that's a terrible fucking shot. What is he doing? Your season's on the line, right?
Yeah.
But
I thought it was a terrible shot when he made it.
Yeah, he just made the same shot, right?
Yeah.
And he has the height advantage on Holiday, right? Who is amazing at stealing and stripping the ball because he's good at perimeter defense. So you're going to post up. It's just terrible positioning. Like, you want to get deeper, but what's he going to do? Like, that's where I think the timeout, I agree with you. Because
they could have got a timeout with 7 seconds left. You know what I mean? They could have got a timeout with 7 seconds left. He could have had a breather. He could have made a couple dribbles, and he could have got a shot off. You know what I mean?
I credit
maybe you drag a double team, and then you get someone with an open shot. Like, this is just, I don't understand how Steve Nash allows that to happen. He should once or
a rookie coach,
huh?
Because this is his first year coaching, and if he was a player, this is what it always comes back to, especially your rookie season as a coach, right? When he was playing, I would imagine he was the type of guy that never wanted to be taken out of the game, as most great players are. Keep me in the game. We have the best chance to win with me on the floor, right? I think that's the biggest reason Kevin Durant played 48 minutes is because he wanted to, and Steve Nash wasn't going to stop him. Where I think experience would have helped Steve Nash is now that he's got a series like this under his belt, I think going forward that he learns to balance it a little better. I credit this mentality to rookie coaching. Having said that, super happy he did it because I love watching my guys play all the time.
No, yeah, for sure.
Help me gain respect for Kevin Durant.
I mean, I don't. I'm not saying you don't do that because I expected it, and I like. For one, this showed me that Kevin Durant was 100% because this was the same. This same issue is what caused Kobe to rupture his Achilles.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously, it wasn't in this magnitude, whereas the playoffs and stuff. But still, he was playing. You know, he obviously played 8 straight games with over 48 minutes on his body. But I just think I'm not saying for you to take him out. All I'm saying is, bruh, once it was 7 seconds when he passed it to James Harden. Once you saw him pass it to James Harden, go to the ref and just call a timeout.
I agree.
Don't even let the play continue at that point. Because why the hell do you want James Harden with the ball? And that should have just told you Kevin Durant does not want the ball right now.
Yeah. Any last things on the Nets before we look forward?
No, it was very fun to root for them and against them this series.
That's weird for you. Did you have the whole shift?
Bro, this was definitely the funnest series for me to watch. And I texted the group chat asking, is this the greatest Game 7 ever?
Yeah.
Because, yeah, and I know you don't feel that way. But for me, I truly did have fun from the very beginning of the series to the end because there was so many. It was literally like me rooting for a team at one point and then the next. And I never really get that. Like, usually if I'm rooting for a team, I'm rooting for them. Yeah. But it was just like, because Kevin Durant really probably he's like my top 3 favorite players in the league right now. So it's like, so I definitely was rooting for him, but I just when I have a take, I have a take. So
hey, dude, the first 5 minutes of us meeting, way back in the day, the first basketball question you ever asked me was, "How do you feel about Kobe?" And then after that, it was, "How do you feel about Kevin Durant?"
Yeah,
and he was still in OKC in the Durantula Kid Clutch days.
Yeah.
It's a way back thing for you. But I that's what I figured would have been weird for you, was going from liking or rooting for one team and then switching it out of nowhere.
Yeah.
That's what happened to me during the Philly series, the Philly Atlanta series.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, Embiid, let's go. And then by the end of it, I was like, I want Trae Young to win this series.
And I was rooting for Philly, but then after a while, I was just like, freaking Atlanta's just like I like the swagger and everything.
Yeah. So let's look forward. Milwaukee and Atlanta.
Yep.
Lindsay, who do you like and why?
That's a really tough question because I didn't really have either of these teams initially that I wanted to see them in the conference finals.
Right.
I don't know. I feel like maybe I'm going to go with the Hawks.
In how many games?
I'm going to say 7.
Wow.
Okay.
Any particular reason?
Well, because I don't think the Bucks are a bad team. I just feel like they're sloppy almost at times. Right. And I feel like the Hawks take advantage of teams that don't always play well or with energy. And so I could see it being a back and forth series because of that.
Who you got, Russ?
Well, I think I feel like Atlanta is going to be more popular of a pick than a lot of people expect. I think Atlanta is going to get picked by more people on television and more people that you might think, oh, maybe they'll pick Milwaukee. They'll think Giannis is too much. Here's why I can't pick against Atlanta. I can't pick against Atlanta because my reason for Milwaukee winning would be Giannis is going to do what he did versus the Nets at the end of that series. Drop 40, 35 a game, right? But we just saw that. We just saw Joel Embiid do that. And he didn't have a whole lot of help. And he had Ben Simmons guarding Trae Young for most of that series. And Trae Young shot less, shot a worse percentage.
Yeah, low percentage, yeah.
But it didn't matter. And that's why I think the Drew Holiday aspect of this that I've heard be floated around, and like Drew Holiday's going to cuff Trae Young. Maybe he does. But does it matter? Atlanta's fucking deep. And they're deeper than Milwaukee from a scoring perspective. And that, I think if Atlanta's going to win, they're going to win in 6 games. But if it goes 7, I can't see. The one thing that I was really proud of out of Giannis, even though I was upset with him and lost so much respect for him in the beginning of the series, I was proud of the way he came out and played in Game 7. Because he could have easily looked like Ben Simmons.
Yeah. And that is one thing, because I noticed even in that Nets breakdown, we talked more about the Nets than the Bucks.
Yeah.
Giannis played his ass off.
Yeah.
And he definitely made, because I've been wanting this something to, like, you know, I've been giving him the most rope out of any star player probably in the last 10 years that I've been like watching. And honestly, it's mainly because of you, because you made me kind of want him to do well.
I'm proud of that one. I'm proud of Luka. I'm happy about these youngins that I've brought into your life.
Yeah. So him doing what he did in the last 2 games made me happy, because I'm like, this is what I've been looking for a while now. So, but Atlanta, I rooted against you versus the Knicks. I rooted against you versus Philly. I've counted you out multiple times.
Yep.
And I just have to say, I'm going to do it again.
Yeah, you're going to do it
again. Milwaukee is going to win this series in 6. I said Philly in 6. I said Knicks in 6. But I'm believing my pick this time. Milwaukee in 6. And the reason is, you don't have, unlike other teams, they've had some type of Giannis stoppers. Like, the teams that really do stop the Bucks are usually the ones that can build the wall.
Right.
Nets were doing a decent job at, like, trying to, like, switch on them and draw offensive fouls and stuff like that. I don't really see Atlanta getting that, like being able to stop him. Right. And then I truly do think that the one thing that Philly didn't do and the Knicks didn't do, they didn't take advantage of Trae Young defensively.
Interesting.
No team had guards. No, I mean, both of those teams didn't have guards that were attacking him defensively. Right. And Atlanta and Milwaukee has 2.
Right.
Drew Holiday and my homeboy
Middleton, Christopher.
Yeah, and I need to apologize to PG, because I mean, it's kind of still at the same level, but I think too early I gave Chris Middleton the better than PG spot. PG's showing me I know it's the West, but whatever. But I just had to say that. But
check the Western Conference breakdown out if you haven't checked that out.
Yeah, exactly. And but I think Chris Middleton will eat Trae Young alive if he guarded him for a series. Okay. And obviously Drew Holiday. And I think the way that they take advantage of that, what they have to do is get those 2 started, make Trae Young get in foul trouble 1, and freaking just attack the shit out of him. You know what that's gonna cause? Double teams. Because you do not want your freaking best player getting in foul trouble, and then also you just don't want to give these easy buckets. Once you start doing that, now you're gonna have Giannis with open lanes. You're gonna have Giannis being able to play more freely throughout the series, and I just can't imagine Milwaukee losing to Atlanta. But I couldn't imagine things these last 2 series. And I'm sorry, Ice Trae. You can't get mad at me. I got the blizzard in the back and everything, but I don't think you bring it.
There's no Lakers shit anywhere behind me.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I mean, there could be a deer behind there, you know, and deers, you gotta fear them sometimes.
Yeah. I don't know if you've heard that rhyme before. but you
Yeah.
fear the deer. You get it?
Usually only if you're in a car, though.
And I truly, and I also truly think yeah, that is true. That is super true. You know? No, man, I totally like missed that.
Hold on, because I have something I wanted to note here. So Milwaukee lost a game versus the Hawks
Mm-hmm.
on the 25th of April, which was not that long ago, and Trae Young did not play.
Okay.
Bojan Bogdanovic destroyed them. He is coming into this series hurt. Is Kevin Huerter, who played well against the Bucks in this game, but is Kevin Huerter going to be able to maintain this picking up the slack? And do you think this team is still has the depth necessary to make this happen? Because this is the other thing. They got great games out of Lou Williams in this last series, which I don't know where he went. Must have went to the chicken place. And I don't know. Like, I think that on paper, Milwaukee should win this series. But as you said, I just don't like it. You just feel, I feel like a jackass saying that because I've said it for 2 series now.
Yeah. That's the whole thing is like, and that was kind of almost going to make me deter what I truly felt. Because my whole thing is I had Milwaukee lose. So this is my original thing was Philly, Milwaukee, Eastern Conference Finals. I had Philly was going to win that series.
Right.
But it's because of completely different reasons than how Atlanta plays. So now I just look at it and I'm like, to me, Milwaukee is the better team. And I also do think that Milwaukee can exploit a lot of things that Atlanta has issues with in this series.
Right.
And I truly do think no team, like even with Trae Young shooting bad, it's different when you have to make a guy play defense.
Yeah.
Like that's a total, like the exertion you get out of the defensive end. Like if you exerting yourself offensively, one, it's a much funner game for you if you're exerting yourself offensively versus defensively. But it's a much harder game when you have to play the defense. You're getting in foul trouble. Now Trae Young has 3 fouls in the second quarter, and there's 5 minutes left, and now this offense has to somehow figure itself out, and like things like that. Like those little things will mess with you throughout the game and series. And I just think that Milwaukee has the pieces to take advantage of Atlanta that way.
Here's the last point and the biggest reason why I can't pick Milwaukee. Who's a better coach, Doc Rivers or Mike Budenholzer?
I mean, you got to go with Doc's history.
It's not. This is my point. You're gonna say Doc, right?
Yep.
And he sucked against Atlanta, so they could easily get outcoached because I think Mike Budenholzer got outcoached by Steve fucking Nash, and he was. If they had lost that Game 7, Mike Budenholzer would not have a job today. I'm positive of that.
For sure. But that's not, I don't think it's because he got, I think it's just going to be an argument if we continue. So keep on.
But what I'm saying, my point in saying that is that Milwaukee didn't make me feel confidence from this 7-game series victory. It made me more like, like I said, outside of those last few games from Giannis, it was more like these guys look terrible out here. Their offense doesn't look right, and it looks really predictable. And their defense, like Brook Lopez got a block, and occasionally Drew Holiday will stop somebody. But it's not. It gave me no confidence about the Bucks. And this is a team with literally coming into the season my favorite player in the league. And
but do you think it's because they were facing arguably the best team in the league?
Were they the best team in the league in games 6 and 7? No. They couldn't have been. And the Bucks barely beat, like,
I don't know. I think
they barely won.
I think most teams left in the playoffs right now would have lost to that Nets team.
With just Kevin Durant?
In Game 7. In that Game 7, I think they would have lost to
maybe the Clippers because they're also hurt. or the Sixers because they're also hurt with Joel Embiid.
And then I
But
mean,
the Bucks are completely healthy. They're the only team left that's got no real injury issues.
but they also don't have. No one has an answer for Kevin Durant. That was literally the issue with the series. Is no one has an answer for Kevin Durant, and that would have been the case for every single person in the league.
I'm not disagreeing with that, but what I'm saying is, it's still. I would have expected them to win against the Nets in 7 for me to be like puffing my chest up about Giannis and like just really excited about Milwaukee going to the NBA Finals. But once again, I'm not sure who the most confident guy on the floor will be in this series because it's probably Trae.
Yeah, but yeah,
I don't know.
I agree. Trae Young most likely will be the most confident guy,
and that matters so much in the fucking postseason. It matters too much, but it does, and so that's why I'm picking Atlanta in 6. But if the Bucks win, I'm not going to be like upset. I feel like Lindsay. Now I'm in the Lindsay spot. I'm not going to be upset. I'd be happy with everybody making the finals except for the Clippers. I don't want to see the Clippers.
Shut up. Shut your whole face.
I apologize because my friend, is happening.
So you're taking
time out because I have the chance to be able to say this. Yeah. Devin Booker, I do love you. And truly, honestly, in reality, I am pretty much rooting for you. My take is saying the otherwise, but I will be rooting for you.
Yeah, I remember when the other day you were like, I don't want the Suns to make it, and I was like, you're just hating on the Suns. And now,
I
realize how much of a
disciple Devin Booker pulled from my heartstrings and said his mentorship from Kobe Bryant and Chris Paul. No one really cares about the Chris Paul part, but the Kobe Bryant
I do.
part.
Shut your whole face, both of you. What is this? Both of you, shut up today.
Relax. It's pulling from my heartstrings. So, and you, Russell, cue the picture of Kobe Bryant picking. You post that, right?
Godly picture, the heavenly picture.
You saw, and it almost made me cry. So, Devin Booker, I am rooting for you, and if you win, I would be happy. I chose the Clippers, and it's my take for Apex, but I am rooting for you, just so you know.
But you have Bucks in 6 games?
Yes.
Lindsay, you have Hawks in 7?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm taking the Hawks in 6.
Yeah. Oh, wait. Just to add the extra spice, just because I like to do this sometimes. I got the Bucks in 6, but I wouldn't be surprised if they won in 5.
Wow. Ooh, all right. Giving them the Miami Heat treatment.
Yeah. That big boy shit.
You got something else?
No, I'm good.
Any parting thoughts before I give the send off? Yes, no, maybe so. We good?
No, we're good.
For Apex Greatness, I'm Russell Broderick. That's Dario Albuquerque.
There you go, guys.
Off cameras, the Fairy Potmire, Lindsay Lehman. I forgot to say that last episode. And we are saying deuces.